Woo Audio. We know Woo Audio. We have seen it before here. The big WA8. In fact, where is it? There. That's the WA there. $1,995 for the giant, kick-ass, fully balanced Class 8. It was this big. You remember it? Way back in the day. You all remember that. It's one of Woo's many offerings. So that was $1,995 for that massive tube amp. And I did like it. Respected it. I said, this is a lot of money, but you know. This is $1,900. Because of the color gold, because it's legitimately gold. I think it's real gold. Because it's $100 more for this color over the black or space gray. And when I talked to Jack Woo at Can Jam, and he had them all set up, and it was the end of the day, and he was like, hey, I'm packing up. You want to take one for review? I'm like, can I have the gold one? I want to try the gold one. Because if I'm going to test a headphone amp that is $1,800 by default, you damn right going to give me the gold one that's $1,900 by default. Because I'm going to talk about the gold. So it's a portable tube amp. Portable. I've seen this before. Here's the Fostex portable tube amp. Haven't gotten around to fully test this, so I'm not going to do a comparison. I'll compare this to this in this review. And portable tubes is a thing that, well, you have to be beyond a certain level of normalcy to concern yourself with portable tubes, as is apparent in the price. And that's fine. Z Reviews does not bias against high-priced items as long as they perform and are cool enough to warrant owning. Because if we all dream about cheap, 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 you'll never, do anything in life. Because you could always afford cheap, cheap. What I need you people to do is want this in your life. You need to look at it and go, is that a 2.5 pound portable tube amp? And I'm going to go, well, yes, it is, Jimmy. It is a portable tube amp. How much? $1,900. Well, I'm going to work all summer throwing newspapers at people. Probably could. I wonder how much newspaper boys get if you did nothing and you lived at home. Maybe, I don't know. I'm going off 90s money as a child. So it's one of the best tube amps I've ever heard. Period. And I know, I'm like, oh, giant tubes, big, preamp, and power supply. This thing is kicking its ass. Kicking their ass. And the weird thing is, my 600s here, which I'll put on in a bit for the last half of this review, everyone just says, oh, you've got to tube these. And I've made fun of that remark because it's like, you can tube them. But they've never sounded as good as they do on the WA8. So all those people are saying you got to tube them, know what they're talking about, and they obviously have better tube amps than I've heard. I mean, my Dark Voice is good. I love you, Dark Voice, but you ain't this. You're more powerful than this. This puts out about 350 milliwatts at 45. 350 milliwatts at 45 ohm. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, we're talking about Class A here, and just like the X7S, when you start talking about Class A, it just is different, right? Because a third of a watt doesn't sound like enough. A third of a watt's plenty. Plug these stupid AKGs. And I say stupid because they're stupid power. And at full tilt, yeah, they work. Just I don't like running things at full tilt. So I'm pretty sure that no headphone I've put on there hasn't worked. Okay. And you're all just looking at me going, I'm not buying a $1,900 or $1,800. If you get it in black, it's $1,800. But come on, man. Don't be cheap. You know you want to buy that little extra option. Oh, gold. Gold. I got a gold $1,900 portable tube amp. And we're talking about portable. So here it is hooked up to my laptop, my Windows 10 laptop. I got my playlist on here, mostly Great Gatsby. In fact, this tube amp seems to only want to play the Great Gatsby soundtrack. It's weird that way. But it's got a 24-bit 384 DAC. And Jack Woo was like, you got to use it with the DAC. The DAC's the best part of it. You got to. And you know what? I can't really test the DAC on its own because it's locked in here. There's no pre-outs. I can't run that to another amp and then, compare the two. But I will say, because there is an auxiliary input on the back, a line input, and I've run other DACs, and I'm trying to point to DACs, they're just everywhere. My whole existence is DACs. I think there is something to his claim, whether it's they've tuned the DAC, because once you have a DAC that's locked in a device like this, that you know that it's only going to be used, that DAC, for this amp, I'm pretty sure you could tweak it any way you like. Maybe the combination of the two things, of whatever they've done to that DAC, which is, and then this tube, and then it comes out of here, single-ended, and you get, by the way, you know when they tell you in the instructions, make sure you turn down the volume before you unplug your headphone and plug back in, and I never listen to that? $1,900 amp, I'll listen. I'll listen very carefully. They give you 3.5 millimeter and a 1/4 inch single-ended in the front. And they give you this lovely knob, and it's got the set screw sort of there, which is a little weird. I wish they would have been able to hide that a little better, because it may be a plug over it, because it sort of sticks out. You get these indicators on here, 0 to 10, and I could turn it up. By the way, just that is perfect. I mean, you sort of have to, if you've got a giant 1/4 inch, which I don't have one immediately here that sticks out, that might get awkward to reach around. But all these are just sort of like, anything. All right, so how does it sound better on things? The width. All right, let's take off the K712s. I just love my K712s, so we're done with the K712s for now. Let's do the actual, and I had it down real low when I unplugged it. Let's put the actual things that I was like, wow, tube amp on here. And then we'll go back to build, and then we'll go back to what I was talking about like 7 minutes ago when I said, oh, this is portable, I'll talk about that. I know these headphones, all right? You know that I know these headphones. I painted these headphones. They brand my logo on them. I know them. And the things that I love about them is how neutral they are and how calm and collected, and everything is very neutral. Very, very, very. And with this amp, it's sort of like, ooh, doing soundstagey things. Not quite K712 by default, but I can't describe it with words, and you're going to have to hear it, and I don't know how to make that happen. Because even a sound demo is not going to accomplish this. The latent echoes and the way the low end is performing on the 600s now. On this, and I run the 600s on everything. I tried plugging my 600s into my bidet. They didn't sound that great, but at least I know. 600s are like, I take them out, I got to test that. Let's have a headphone on, tested that. Got to test this. Everything gets tested, 600s, and then random selections of other things. And it sounds the best. My headphones that I've had for years, I've never heard them sound as good as they do in the WA8. Now, I'm going to eventually get some other audio amps, like the Firefly, something like that from him, hopefully to maybe reel in this sort of sound without spending for the other options on this, or the features on this. And what am I talking about? What are you talking about, Zeos? What other features? It's just a giant 2.5 pound. And that, by the way, I can't stress how heavy that is. Because you're like, oh, 2.5 pounds. That's like, no, that's, I could, if I had to fight someone right now, there was someone broke in, I would just grab this and hit them once, and they'd be in a hospital forever. Possibly forever. Nothing else here would do the job. All right. I'm done with sound on this, all right? We're done with sound because I've just told you it's the best sounding tube amp I've heard so far on my 600s. And if you have a chance to listen to one at a show or a meet or anything, and you have 600s, do it. Let me unplug the USB. I'm going to pause that so it doesn't freak out. And you know what? I'm going to even unplug the power. Here's the power brick. It's red now because it says it's charging or it's running. It'll turn green if it's done charging. I said charging because it's battery powered. It's portable, like it's small, and it comes with this amazing case that you can place it in and just be like, and you could hook that on. I would not advise going like hiking and then hooking this onto your backpack. I don't trust anything that much. I don't trust what you'd ever hook this up to. By the way, this is in this box, running right now. It's not a very long battery life. I'll tell you this much. It's 4 hours. All right? And when I heard that, okay, it's 4 hours, but it's 4 hours of Class A tube amp, and I'm like, what's the point of that? And it took me a while to really to understand it here in my little world. First of all, it gets hot. Let me talk about it right now. It's running right now. Right now, it's just running. I could plug the USB back into it. The USB doesn't power at all. It would just be sending signal. And yes, it does sound exceptionally good on the USB. But now we're going to talk about it running battery and what else it can do. So line in, we're going to get to in a second. Here's your power switch on off. It's very recessed back here. Here's your DC charge. This side has nothing but information. It says WA8 Eclipse battery operated vacuum tube amplifier designed by WA8 audio, blah, 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 blah. No serviceable parts inside. Bottom's got feet. The top's got these vents. And here you've got to switch between 3 and 2 tubes, because there are 3 tubes, and then you could shut the power off, swap that to 2 tubes, or else it'll make a loud ass pop, and I found that out the hard way. And then you can run it either 3 or 2 tubes. And I asked Jack about that, and he's like, it's just the way it operates with headphones. Try it, whichever one sounds better. I found 3 tubes usually works best on everything I've got. You can try 2 tubes. I don't know if running it on 2 tubes instead of 3 tubes, tubes will have more battery life tubes. Who's taking this portable? Who and why? You've got to be in a different class of human being than you all are currently. You've got to have a different mindset. And the problem is, when I got this, I wasn't in that mindset. I needed to get into the mindset of someone who went out and bought one of these tube amps. And I'm like, all right, what are we doing? We're running our little baby tube amp on battery power for as much as 4 hours, and it will drain the battery charge. It'll just drain down. And then I figured it out. I figured out exactly what you do with this tube amp. You plug it in. You plug in your best sounding player, and I still maintain this hi-fi, and it's fucking amazing. You walk into your living room or out in your deck, and you sit in front of your fireplace and kick your shoes off. And right here, right where I am right now, that's where this tube amp exists. Because 4 hours isn't a very long time. You're not going to get on a flight, although you'd be insane to pull that on a flight, because I would think it's a bomb. But taking that like to a hotel, you're a businessman, you pack it in your bag, it's too heavy, it's 2.5 pounds. You got to still carry the charger with you, because you can't run it without the power brick after 4 hours. So if you're taking it to a hotel, you're taking it with the power brick, and there's usually power brick. This amp is for right here. Zeos is in his living room. His cat's watching him. He wants to listen to amazing quality on his HD600s on his couch, away from the walls. And I'm doing it. Feet up. Sheepskin pillows. Love is the drug. This is it. This is the life everyone should be striving for. Right here. And I'm borrowing the life, but this is it. By the way, I'll link to this. The Art of Ilium. I support them on Patreon. Amazing artwork. Just awesome. This is it. I want to look at this book by fireplace light. Headphones. And I want to listen to music on my tube amp. Could you imagine the lifestyle of living like you got a lakefront property and you just want to sit out by your fire pit and you put your headphones on and you take your little portable $1,900 tube amp outside and you just sit there with it and you could look at the tube glow because you've got everything dim and it's just I'm gonna finish this review, and I'm gonna stay right here for like 3 more hours until that thing is getting low, and then I'm just gonna cry myself to sleep. Because it sounds so good, and this is its purpose. You're looking at its purpose. It's in its even if no matter who says anything that you got to use it. This is it. Right here. I'm gonna come to tears because of it. So, thank you, Jack. You've shown me the light. I now have a goal. Everyone needs goals in life, and I've had a goal of, okay, I want to have a nice kick-ass around. But now I want this. I want to have one of these, a lakefront property. I want to pick it up from my desk, unplug it, walk outside, and spend 2 hours without worrying about it. And just this. Should make this the thumbnail. On to not bigger and better, bigger and worse things.